What is up, YouTube? Today I'm coming back at you with another video, and today's video is going to be something that I wanted to start. It's potentially a new series depending on what you guys think of it, but today I'm going to be going over some Linux software, and the name of this series is Switching to Linux, and the whole purpose of this series is to show people some alternative software that they might use on a daily basis on Linux as opposed to the software they're either using on Mac OS or Windows. But some of this software is also available for those platforms. You'll just have to check, so you might be able to check out these programs in your current operating system before switching to Linux, and if you like those things, it might make the transition easier. Alright, so today we are currently on my low-powered machine just to also gauge performance here. We are currently, let me open up the terminal here. We are currently running with Ubuntu on an Intel Core 2 Duo T7250 and NVIDIA Quadro NVS 135M with 4 gigs of RAM. So that's the specs we're working with. So you'll pretty much be able to gauge your performance based on that. So this is like I think an 11-year-old system. Today we're going to be taking a look at Office Suite programs, because that is one of the biggest things that people, when they're switching to Linux, they want to use Microsoft Office, and so a lot of the times they'll hear that people aren't able to install Microsoft Office on Linux. So we're going to take a look at some alternatives and some web applications that will allow you to continue to use that style program, and even compatibility, and might even have some compatibility with your Microsoft Office documents. So the first thing I want to cover is I tried to find every single piece of Office Suite software I could for Linux, and I think I got a pretty good bunch. This is more than I've ever seen in one video. So I got quite a bit of different pieces of software, but I did leave two major ones out here, and one we're kind of going to brush over really quickly. So the two that we're not covering at all, but they are technically still options, are OpenOffice. And the reason why we're not going to be covering OpenOffice is because of the install process. The install process for OpenOffice on Debian-based or Ubuntu-based Linux distributions is so tedious. Basically what they do is they give you a zip file with all the Debian .deb files and all of its dependencies all in one file, and you have to manually go and install each dependency and deb file one by hand, and it is really tedious and monotonous. Another reason why we're not doing OpenOffice is because due to the way that LibreOffice is set up, which is another Office program that I have installed, there is a dependency confliction with OpenOffice, and since LibreOffice is technically a fork off of OpenOffice that is updated much more frequently, we're just going to disregard OpenOffice. Although if you really want to, and you want to take the 20-25 minutes that it takes to actually install OpenOffice, you can do that. The second one we're not going to be covering at all is Office 365, which is Microsoft Office's online suite, sort of similar to Google Docs. We're not going to be covering that because it functions the same on every platform, and there's no offline version of it. So basically you just have the online website. So when you're connected to the internet, you can go to office365.com, and it functions the exact same way as Microsoft Office through the internet browser, and it should have 100% compatibility because it is a Microsoft website and product. So we're not going to be covering either of those. What we will be covering is a lot of other software. So the first one I want to talk about, actually before we actually touch on that, there's two methods of installation that we have here for this software. So a lot of the software, and this is the home folder here, a lot of the software might come in deb files or tar.gz files. So most of them come in .deb if they're not available through the repository. So there's basically two ways to install your Office software. I'll talk about where I got each piece of software when we come up to that specific piece of software, but Some of the software you're going to have to go to the website of the manufacturer, download their Debian package right here, it's .deb, and then install it yourself. And I'll go over how to install that in a second. So that's one way. I would say about half of them you have to do that way. The other half are done through the Linux repositories. So basically you just go into your system tools, go to your software center, and so your software center is the same on pretty much all your platforms, and then you just search up your software program like LibreOffice, and it should search your software repository, and then it should allow you to install it by just clicking on it like an app store and installing it that way. So those are the two ways that you'll have this software. Alright, so first we're going to take a quick look at Google Docs. We're not going to go super in-depth just because Google Docs is pretty much the same on every platform. We're not going to go over the functionality of it. We're just going to show you how to install it on Linux, and that's pretty much it because it functions the same on every platform. So we're just going to show you how to install it. So first things first, open up your web browser that comes with your distribution. In this case it's Firefox for us. Now most distributions will not have Google Chrome installed by default, and now the reason for that is because Google Chrome is not open source software. There's Chromium, which is the open source version of Chrome, but it doesn't have every single feature of Chrome. So what we're going to do is we're going to install the official Chrome version for Linux, not Chromium, the official Chrome version. And since that's not in your repositories, what you have to do is you can just Google Chrome, and then you'll see Chrome web browser. You just click on that, and then you'll have your standard download Chrome button. So you just hit download, and it should detect that you're on Linux. So right here it says download Chrome for Linux, and it should show you the compatible distributions. And if it's based off of any of these four, it should also be compatible with that as well. So you have Debian, Ubuntu, Fedora, OpenSUSE, and they're in 64-bit only. So it's got 64.deb, 64-bit.rpm. So we're going to take the Debian file here, and we're going to save it. And now what this Debian file will do is it will add the official Google Chrome repository to our set of repositories, and it will install Google Chrome. And I'll show you the two ways to do that, because there's two different ways to install a deb file on your system. So right now we're just waiting for this to finish its download, and then we'll install it. So we've got a couple seconds left here. I'm not sure if you're seeing the mouse flicker like I am. If not, then don't worry about it. But I'm seeing a little bit of mouse flicker, probably just due to the recording software. Alright, so now we have Google Chrome downloaded, the Debian file. So we're going to go to our downloads folder, and you'll see right here Google Chrome stable current AMD 64. So there's two ways you can install this. First, you can download Gdb Package Installer, and that is a graphical user interface package installer. So basically it'll just load this up, and you'll just hit this button that says install package. So it'll load that up, and then this button will become clickable, and you can click that and install. Or what you can do is open up your terminal, and you can do sudo deep package -i, and then you copy the path, and bam, and you just hit enter there. Now you may be thinking that's kind of a hard thing to remember, but it's not really that hard. All you have to do is remember sudo, which is super user do, dpackage, which stands for like depackaging or like unpackaging, so depackage literally, and then -i install, and then your path to your file, and then you just hit enter, type in your password, and then it unpacks and installs Google Chrome. So right now we're installing Google Chrome. It's actually much easier to to install through the graphical user interface. So now we should have Google Chrome here. So we'll open up Google Chrome and we'll take a look at Google Docs first. So sorry for the long delay in the technical start of this video, but these are just some things you might want to know when you're switching to Linux. So we're going to open up Chrome. Now Chrome is a resource hog, and this is a lightweight system, so we're probably not going to get the best performance out of this. Let's open up HTOP and make sure it didn't freeze on us here. There we go. Alright, so we're going to uncheck both of those, and Google Chrome is now installed and opened. No thanks, we do not want to sign in. And basically how you do Google Docs is the same way you would do it on any other system now that you have Google Chrome installed. All you do is you, well, first you have to sign in, and then you sign in, and then you just install Google Docs. Oh, here we go. Apps. You just go to your apps, and then you Google Docs, and then you sign in, and then you have your Google Docs. So that's basically how Google Docs works. It's the same on any platform, but I just wanted to show you how to install a Debian package or .deb package, so you do know that you don't have to get it from the repositories, and just because you can't find it in the repositories, you can go to the actual manufacturer's website. So we're going to take a look at all the Office software I've installed here. So as you can see, we have a lot of different Office software to go through. So I did do some tests on each one. I did, first we're going to go through word processors, and we're just going to go alphabetical. Actually, we're just going to go through the list here. And we'll start off with LibreOffice, just because that's what I use on my main machine. So we're going to go Libreoffice Writer. Alright, so I did do some tests on this, on all of these Office programs. What I did is I opened up an ODT, which was my resume and an old college project that I had typed up. Well, actually no, the resume was an ODT, and then I also did a .doc file from Microsoft Office 2013 that was an old college project, and I also tested the ability to export to PDF. Alright, so let's talk about the results of those tests from LibreOffice. So the ODT, technically I didn't do the test on LibreOffice for the ODT, which is the Open Document Text, because that is the default file that you can save as in LibreOffice. You can see here ODT is the default text document that you can save as. And the reason why I didn't test it on here is because I actually typed up my resume in LibreOffice, so it should be 100% compatible. So technically this is an exempt from that first test. Second, I tested out .doc file from Microsoft Office 2013, and that got a P rating, which is, in my code, my rating system goes P, which is perfect, and then A, B, C, D, and F. And this got a P, so this was a perfect compatibility. Everything opened up just as it should, and it was formatted with headers, indents and tables, and bulletin points. And everything was formatted correctly, and everything worked perfectly fine. Now I should mention that I also have the Microsoft fonts installed. Times New Roman is one of them. And just so you know, if you install Linux, I highly recommend installing the Microsoft fonts. It'll increase your compatibility with Microsoft Office documents. And since I had that installed, everything was 100% compatible. Everything looked perfect. The third thing that I did a test on was the ability to export as PDF. As you can see here, you can save as a PDF. Now, why did I do this test? The PDF test is done as a way to make sure that you don't mess up any formatting. When you export a document as a PDF, everybody should be able to open a PDF, because web browsers, pretty much all of the modern web browsers, can open and view PDFs, and then you can print from the web browser. So you shouldn't have any compatibility issues with people trying to open up your PDFs. And when you save as a PDF, it also saves your formatting, your font style, and everything. So you don't just get just the text with some data on which font to use when you open it up. You get your formatting and everything saved as sort of like a photo document. So PDF is really, in my opinion, the ideal way to send a document to somebody. if you want to send a document to somebody and you're not sure what program they're going to open it up with, and they don't need to edit that document, I highly recommend saving as a PDF and sending it that way. If they do need to edit it, I recommend sending it as a ODT, an open document text, just because most software can open up ODT. Alright, so you can also save as a Microsoft Office document, as most programs are compatible with that as well. So let's take a look at LibreOffice now that we've gone over the test results. So as you can see here, let's do a little bit of a typing test to show you what it looks like. This is a test of the program, and as you can see, it looks really nice. Your interface here is more of an old school interface, not exactly old school. It has a little bit of a style to it, which makes it look modern, but it has that classic layout, and I really like this classic layout. There's also some stylization to the highlighting, and you also have this sidebar menu here, but it basically functions as a word processor should. It's got your menu files up here. Most of your stuff can be changed up here, and you can do all of your word processing needs up there. And then you also, like I said, have all your quick icons here that I really like. I really like this setup, and this setup right here is my ideal setup. I love the classic layout of the word processing programs like this. Now let's also take a look at the consumption of memory. So normally when I'm typing, I'm pretty much only typing by itself, but just in case you want to multitask, I'll show you the memory usage of this program. So you also have to remember I am recording a video and rendering it. Just keep that in mind. But even with rendering a video and recording and having this word processing program opened, we're just over half a gig of memory usage. So it's not too bad in terms of how much memory it uses. So that is a look at Libreoffice Writer, and we won't save that. Alright, so let's take a look at the next program here. We're going to take a look at AbiWord now. Alright, so here we are. We have AbiWord open, and now this one, it has a similar sort of layout to LibreOffice. It's a little bit more simplified. You don't have that bar on the side. You do still have your same settings here. You have all the things you can insert as well. And so the default for this is Times New Roman once you install it. So let's do a test type here. This is a test of this program. And as you can see, the font actually scales with the page. So you should have the same size font no matter what. But if you, say, wanted to type in a smaller window, the font will and the page will scale to fit as much of the screen as possible. Alright, so the test results for this. The ODT test, which was my resume, which is formatted with headers, bullet points, underlines, italicized, tables, and all that good stuff. My resume, when I opened it up, it had a B grade compatibility. And now what that means is my opening statement on my resume had some spacing issues when I tabbed to another page. There was some spacing issues where there was probably like this much space in between some of the words, but everything was indented correctly. All the tabs were done correctly. All the bullet points were done correctly. So the spacing is a bigger issue to me than a misdone bullet point. And so I gave it a B grade for the ODT compatibility from LibreOffice. The Microsoft Office doc format got an A compatibility, where the only issue was instead of doing a hollow bullet point on the second indentation bullet point, it had a weird symbol that kind of looked like the movie cut board. So that was the only compatibility issue that I had with the Microsoft Office doc. So I got an A grade compatibility with the doc format. And for PDF exporting, it does export as PDF. It's not as easy to find, but you can scroll down here and you can export as a portable document format .pdf. So It does do that. Some of the other formats you can see here that it supports is it has its own proprietary format, so that's something worth noting. LibreOffice does not have its own proprietary format, it just has ODT. So these are some of the document types that you can open. Alright, so that's a quick look at AbiWord. Now we also have to, actually, we also do need to look at the memory usage. So memory usage, we're at 551 megabytes of RAM usage, so it's about 100 megabytes less than LibreOffice. So that's a quick look at AbiWord. And now let's move on to the next Office program. So the next Office program, I should also mention that AbiWord and LibreOffice are available through your software repository. Right here it says software, you just click that and install it from the software repository. Let's take a look at Calligraphy Words. Alright, so Calligraphy Words is available through your software repository as well. And this is the default screen that you get when you open it up. Now, this sort of is kind of nice because you can, it gives you a couple templates that you can start with, or you can just do a blank template. So let's just do a blank template like the rest of them. Now, I haven't changed the way this looks at all. This is how it looks when you first install the program and open it up. Actually, it's actually minimized, so it looks more like that. So this is my biggest gripe so far with Calligraphy Words. It's easily changeable, but this is what it looks like by default, and it's very ugly. So what you have to do is you actually have to, I think you can't, I don't even know how we move. Okay, so yeah, so this is the default look of Calligraphy Words. So not very pretty. The layout is kind of, I don't know, it's not very well done in my opinion. You have all of your stuff here on the side in these tabs, and now it seems like it's supposed to be able to collapse. Oh, there it goes. So it looks like you should be able to collapse it like that. But when you go to your text editing, it automatically puts you back like that. So there's some work that needs to be done in terms of making this user interface a little bit nicer. But if you did want to use this, it is a usable program still. The ODT test that we started off with got an A grade, which means the only thing that was off about it in my resume was the bullet points. They didn't have the correct tab spacing. The bullet points were aligned to the edge of the page instead of indented, which is easily fixable. The Microsoft Word document got a B grade, which had some weird funky stuff going on with the formatting between paragraphs, where it had extra spaces and stuff, so things that were supposed to be on one page weren't on one page. So it got a B grade on that. And then it can export a PDF, so it did pass that test. As you can see here, export as PDF. So let's take a look at also what kind of formats it can support. So these are the formats it can support. It can support open Office documents, which is what LibreOffice is by default. I believe that's also the default file format for this. HTML and all these right here. So Microsoft Word and ODT are pretty much the only real ones that it supports. Don't have a lot of document compatibility with this one, but it is an option nonetheless. Let's take a look at how much resources this is using. This is using 576 megabytes of RAM, so you're looking at roughly almost the exact same amount of resource usage between Calligraphy and AbiWord. So that is that. Let's move on to the next one. We're going to take a look next at FreeOffice Text Maker. Now, FreeOffice is not available through your repository, so what you have to do is you're going to have to open up your web browser and just type in FreeOffice, and it should take you to the download page here, and you should go to download. And you can see here, you just have to enter in your name and your email, and then you can download either for Windows or Linux as you can see. And then you just install the way I showed you at the beginning of the video. Now, this is what FreeOffice TextMaker looks like. Now, this has the same style as the newest version of Microsoft Office 2016-2013 with the ribbon menu. As you can see, it almost looks like a clone in terms of the way it looks. And now, this is the default look of it. However, this program also gives you the ability to, if you go to Options, you can go to your Appearance here, and you can do the User Interface button, and you can change it back to the Classic menu as well. So you can also use this in the Classic mode or the ribbon mode. So the Classic mode is the Microsoft Office 2007 and before format, with sort of like how LibreOffice has it, or you can do the ribbon, how the current Office format has. And they also have the ability to use a touch mode, which is really nice, and it's the only Office program on Linux that I have that has a compatibility option for touch typing, which is really, really nice. So that's a bonus there if you're into touch typing. So let's go into the test results of FreeOffice Text. So FreeOffice Text for the ODT format, my resume from LibreOffice got a A-grade formatting pass. So the only issue that it had was, just like Calligra, it had some issues with the bullet point spacing, where it was aligned to the left of the page instead of indented. So it got an A-grade pass there. Now, for the Microsoft Office portion of this test, it got a perfect grade. Everything was formatted exactly as it would be in Microsoft Office. So it got an 100% compatibility with my Microsoft Office document, which, like I said, it had all the headings and all that good stuff with bullet points and tables, and it got a perfect passing grade there. And this also has the ability to export as a PDF. So it has pretty much all your bases covered. Now, I think this is a great option for people that are on Linux that want an Office program. This is a great word processor. It has great functionality. If you like the ribbon format, this is a great option there. It's, in my opinion, the best ribbon formatted word processor for Linux. And it just seems really, really polished, and everything works really, really well. And if you're used to using Microsoft Office, it's practically the same experience. So let's take a look quickly at the resource usage for this, and then we'll do a typing test. So resource usage is actually surprisingly not that high. For a program that looks like that, you would expect it to be on the par with LibreOffice resource usage, but it's actually probably about 50 or 60 megabytes less of RAM usage. So you're about 581 megabytes of RAM usage for this one. So not bad at all. Not bad at all. All right, so let's do a typing test. So this is a test of this program, and as you can see, it works just as it should. You have your highlighting abilities. You can do all the great stuff here. We'll do a bullet point, and you can pick your bullet points. And yeah, so there you go. That's a quick look at that. It's really, really great. Now, I should mention about this program is this program, FreeOffice, is made by SoftMaker. Now, SoftMaker also makes a paid version of this program called SoftMaker Office. And if you click on the link there, it'll take you to their comparison page. And this is if you click the shopping cart icon in your word processor, you'll see here. Now, the free version has quite a lot of functionality, and it works really, really well. And the Linux version actually has more functionality than the Windows version, because it offers 32-bit versions instead of just, it offers 32 and 64 bits for Linux instead of just 32-bit versions like it does with Windows. And the Mac version isn't even available as FreeOffice. So Linux has a really big benefit in terms of FreeOffice. And the Linux version has a little bit more functionality than the just plain Windows version of FreeOffice. But if you did want to upgrade, there is some more functionality like multiple dictionaries and thesauruses for different languages in these premium versions that you can buy here. And so that's one thing that's different about free Office than some of these other programs, is there is an ability to upgrade and get some more functionality if you wanted some more niche and premium features. Alright, so let's move on to the next piece of software. Alright, so the next one we're going to move on to is OnlyOffice. Now, OnlyOffice is also available online. Now, the cool thing about OnlyOffice is when you open OnlyOffice, it automatically opens up as a full screen page. It minimizes your taskbar, and it automatically opens up in this full screen layout, and it's got its own unique user interface, which I find to be very nice. And it makes very good use of the screen real estate, I think. So it's really, really nice the way that this is laid out. It's a unique sort of layout, and it's got some good format here. So that's one thing that I really like about this, is the user layout. And now if you minimize it, your taskbar will come back, but by default it opens up full screen like this. So that's kind of cool. Let's show you where you get this real quick. So for OnlyOffice, you have to get it online as well. So you just type in OnlyOffice Linux, and then you go to their website, onlyoffice.com, and then you just hit Get OnlyOffice Now. So that's basically how you get that, and it's given to you in a deb file as well. Alright, so let's go through the tests. So for OnlyOffice, the ODT test, this got an A grade as well. And that means that it was pretty much perfect, and just like the other two ODT programs that tried to open up ODT, the only issue that I had was the bullet points being aligned to the left of the page rather than indented like they were supposed to be, and that was the only real issue that I had with this. Other than that, the formatting, everything else was correct. So that got an A grade for that. For the Microsoft Word document, it got a P, perfect rating, 100% compatibility. Everything looked exactly as it should have for the compatibility there. And yeah, that's pretty much the best that you can hope for. For the PDF test, if you go to Save As here, you can save as PDF, and you can see the other files that it does support here. It doesn't say that it supports saving as docx. I mean, it doesn't say that it supports saving as .doc, but it can open the older .doc format as well. But it would save it as a docx. So there's one thing to note about that that's a little bit different. Alright, so the typing experience, so let's do a quick typing test. This is a test of this program. So there is the typing test. The default font for this is Arial, sort of like the new Microsoft Office, but you can use, the other Microsoft fonts as well. So one thing I really want to say about this is this user interface is fantastic. I really like this user interface, so much so that I'm kind of thinking about switching to this, just because it's got good compatibility with ODT and perfect compatibility with Doc, just like LibreOffice. So I kind of want to switch to this just because of the layout here. It's really, really nice. You have tons of really cool stuff, and this also supports sort of the same thing that Google Docs does, where you can have multiple people editing the same document at one time from different computers, which is kind of cool. But you have all your formatting stuff up here, you have your insert menu, so it's kind of like a ribbon menu, but it's their own take on the ribbon menu. And then you also have some really cool things here that other programs don't have, like this photo editor, this symbol table. I'm not sure what OCR is. You have an automatic translator built in, so let's test that out. I know some German, so let's do a German translation and see how well that works. So, hello, how are you? And we'll do a highlight, and we'll click the translator button. So we'll do auto to, can we translate to German? Okay, that's Galatian German. That's kind of accurate. Hallo, wie sind Sie? That is a more formal way to say that. So it is technically correct. That is a technically correct translation. Normally I would say Hallo, wie geht's? Or something like that, because that's a more casual way to say it, but Hallo, wie sind Sie is technically a correct way to say that statement, so the translator definitely does work. Now it also has this weird YouTube plugin, which I'm not sure why it has a YouTube plugin. Oh, so you can basically embed YouTube videos in your Word document with this program. That's really, really cool. That's something that I've not seen before. You also have some macros here if you wanted to do custom Word macros, and then you also have additional plugins like clip art and stuff. So that's actually very, very functional. Only Office has quite a lot of functionality that LibreOffice doesn't have, and this is the most functionality with plugins that I've seen out of any of the programs we've taken a look at, because I'm pretty sure you can't do some of these things with LibreOffice or any of the other programs that we've looked at so far. So that's a really cool program. I like that one a lot. And like I said, you can get that one from their website. Alright, so the next... Oh, wait, we should probably open that back up real quick. We did not do a performance test. So we'll open up the program again, and then we'll take a look at how much performance it's using. The one downside to this program, I will say, is it does take a little bit to load. It's not as quick to load, but this is on, you have to remember, a Core 2 Duo. That's an 11-year-old processor, so it might load better on a newer processor. Definitely the heaviest. That confirms my suspicion. So this is the heaviest Office program that we've tested to date so far. The reason for that, my suspicion is, it's got all three types of programs, the presentation, the spreadsheet, and the word processor, technically bundled into one program, plus you have the fancy user interface and all that stuff. So this is the heaviest weight program. It's using 826 megabytes of RAM. That's with screen recording though, so quite a lot of memory usage, but it does function on a low-end system like this, and we're still technically under 1 gig of RAM usage. So that's basically how this functions. I'm really a fan of only Office right now, so that's kind of cool. Alright, so the next one we're going to look at is Wps Writer. So Wps Writer, this is another kind of ribbon-looking menu. So this sort of has the ribbon menu that the other ones do. It's got a little bit more flashy transitions here. You can get this from their website, so let's go to their website and show you where to get this. Wps Writer, and you can just type that in Google and just go here and download it from their website. So there you go. Works just like that, and you install the deb file like the others. So let's do a typing test real quick. This is a typing test. As you can see, works perfectly fine. You have your highlight and stuff like that. Now the user interface for this is a little bit more flat. It seems that they have pretty much everything set up in like a ribbon fashion, just like the Microsoft Office, but I prefer the look of this ribbon other than the official Microsoft Office. It just looks a little bit nicer, a little bit more clean. I do wish that these icons were maybe a little bit bigger, or maybe along a sidebar down to the side here or something. These are a little small. It's not really an issue if you're using a mouse or a touchpad or something, but if you're using a touch screen, these are going to be very hard to click. So that's the only real issue I have there. Let's go over the tests from the documents. Alright, so for the ODT resume test, this got an F. This program does not support ODT document type. So basically for this, you won't be getting any ODT support. I was not able to open up my resume and check anything. All I got when I opened it up was like something that looked like 41 or something like that. That's basically what happened when I tried to open it up. So it's not able to open up ODT format. So that's a big negative for me, because that's the document type that I use the most. For the Microsoft Word compatibility, it got an A. Basically, just like some of the others, the only issue for the Microsoft Office format was some of the bullet points, instead of having the hollow bullet point that just has the line with the white circle in the center, it had that same weird sort of like the cut board from a movie set. So that was the only real difference there, and that got an A passing grade because you can just change the look of the bullet points later on. But other than that, all the formatting was correct. So for Microsoft Office compatibility, that would be an A. PDF, as you can maybe kind of see here, there is an export to PDF button, so it did pass the export to PDF button. So, what do I think about this? It doesn't have it doesn't have ODT format support, so let's take a look at what it does support. So, it has its own proprietary format, Wps Writer format, and then it supports the Microsoft Word 2007, docx, and then standard doc files, as well as all of these other ones as well. So you can see there it's got a decent selection of formats, but I really, really wish the WPS team would work on the open document format as well. That is something that I think is a necessity for a writing document, a writing program such as this. Other than that, you can see that it types very easily. It's very fluid. One thing I do want to mention about this is you can have multiple documents opened as tabs right here, and that's something that's not done by default in some of the other ones. So you do have like a tab section here where you can have multiple documents open instead of having multiple windows open down here. So that's really nice. I do like the fact that you do have multiple tabs available like that. That's a big plus for me. The layout, it's not terrible. It's not my favorite. I'm not a fan of the ribbon menu, but you do have word art and some other symbols and stuff like that, and other various things you can do. But you don't have translations or any of that other stuff that only Office had. So very good. You do have the ability to watermark as well. So you do have some good functionality here. If you're basically going to be working with Microsoft Office stuff a lot, or you're going to be typing for yourself, WPS is not really a bad option at all. It's very, very nice looking. It functions very well. Let's check the performance on this one. So the performance on this one is pretty much very comparable to LibreOffice. 646 megabytes of RAM usage. So very similar performance-wise to LibreOffice, just with a better interface and a different format for its default format. So not bad. It's not a bad choice there. So definitely check that one out. But you also do, I almost forgot to mention this. This is the only other Office program that allows you to change your user interface style. So if you're not a fan of the ribbon like this, I almost forgot this, you can do a change here. So you have the 2016 version, which has a white and dark mode, and then you have whatever it used to be in 2013, which looks sort of like another ribbon menu, like the older ribbon menu from Microsoft Office 2013. So it's still a ribbon menu, it's very similar to this one that we've got right now, but you also have support for the classic menu. So what you do there is you close that. Once you close that, open it up again, and bam, you have the classic style menu here. And so for those of us who prefer the classic menu, here's the classic menu. Still has all the same features and all the same support as the normal one, just with the classic user interface. And so that makes it a lot more usable for me. And that gives it a big plus in my book. I really, really like the user interface options here. So let's close that one up. And let's see if actually same memory usage no matter what user interface. So not bad. Pretty good options there. Alright, so the last word processing program we're going to take a look at is Lix. Now Lix is a little bit different than the others. Lix actually has compatibility for spreadsheet and word processing in the same program, but it doesn't give you a blank template right off the bat. You actually have to open it up, so let's do a new let's see what new from template they've got. So as you can see here, they've got tons of different templates for you to check out here. So let's just do DocBook article. Let's see what that looks like. As you can see here, it's got some different formatting things, as you can see. But it does have tab file support. Let's go over the tests. So for the tests, the ODT resume test got an F. Was not able to open ODT at all. No compatibility whatsoever. The Microsoft Office format test also got an F. Not compatible with Microsoft Office documents at all. No compatibility there. The PDF test, it can support PDF exports. So this program, this is a very different, interesting program. Has no support for those two main file types. Let's see what kind of support it does have. So you do have its own proprietary format, the LIX document, and that seems to be the only file type that it supports, is the LIX document. So if you're editing files for yourself only, it's not a bad option if you like this look and you like the way that this works. It's not a terrible option, but you won't really be able to share editable documents with anybody unless they also have LIX installed. But you can export it as a PDF, and you can share your files that way. So if you go down here, you can export it as PDF, so it is compatible that way. Not my favorite, probably the one I recommend the least out of this, and yeah. So that's all of the word processors that we've gone over. Alright, so in summary, the ones that had the best compatibility across the board are FreeOffice, that had an A in ODT compatibility, perfect Microsoft Office compatibility, and PDF compatibility. LibreOffice, that had perfect compatibility across the two document types that I tested, so perfect ODT, perfect doc, and PDF export. The only reason I got perfect ODT though is because the document was originally created with LibreOffice. I'm not sure if that would change if I created it with a different program, so I'm just going to put it on the same level as the other two. OnlyOffice also got an A in compatibility for ODT, a P in compatibility with documents from Microsoft Word, and it can export as PDF. Now, so if you wanted the best compatibility across the board, I'd recommend either FreeOffice, LibreOffice, or OnlyOffice. Those are the ones that had the best compatibility. If you wanted to have a little bit of say in the way that you had your user interface, FreeOffice has the ribbon and classic styles, and WPS, although it doesn't get it got a F for ODT compatibility because it doesn't support it, does also have ribbon support and classic style support. OnlyOffice also has its very own user interface, which is something to consider as well if you wanted to try that out. So that's pretty much an overview of the different word processors. Let's take a look now at the spreadsheet compatibility. Now, I was only able to test this with one document type for spreadsheets. The spreadsheets were all tested with the Open Document standard. So Open ODS is the Open Document spreadsheet, and I only use Open Document spreadsheets. So I've never used Microsoft Word compatibility or Microsoft or XML or whatever it's called. So I don't know the compatibility for that. We're only going to be looking at the Open Document spreadsheet compatibility with these programs. And we'll also be taking a look at if you can export in PDF, which is a really big thing for me. For the same reasons as the Microsoft, for the same reasons as the word processor PDF exporting, same sort of thing. It saves all the formatting, and so you'll get perfect compatibility if they don't need to edit the file at all. So let's take a look at Calligraphy Switch, which is our first one on the list here. And we'll actually be able to take a look at the file that I used for compatibility. So we'll do the blank worksheet here, and just like the Calligraphy Writer, you have this really weird user interface that is very cluttered, not very laid out very well. and it just kind of looks sort of cramped. But it does have some really cool things here that some of the other ones aren't going to have. Is they've got these tables here for inserting different various I don't know, various different things you can insert into your tables here. So you got your stencils here and whatnot, and then you've got lots of different things in the menus. So it's got this weird menu set up. Not a huge fan of the user interface for the Calligraphy Suite, but let's take a look at the compatibility. So we'll open up our document here, which is my Stargate document. Now this is heavy formatting, so this has a lot of different types of stuff going on. So this will be a good look at formatting for an ODT. So it's kind of hard to see just because of the small size of the window there. So let's try to find something that we can there we go. So as you can see here, you've got quite a lot of stuff going on, various different file tables and stuff. As you can see, all the dates are there, everything is there. This actually scored a P rating for ODS compatibility. So this is 100% compatible with this spreadsheet. Everything looks as it should. This will actually have this one. The C column here is actually a little smaller than usual, so it's got this red arrow here that you hover over and it shows you what's fully in there. So it's got perfect compatibility with the ODS standard, and all the formatting is perfectly correct, and everything looks as it should. So really great for Office programs. I'm not sure what this is, but I accidentally clicked and now we've got some weird stuff going on. But perfect compatibility there. Everything looks really good. User interface, not the best. For the PDF test though, you can export as a PDF, so that does pass that. Calligra, not bad, but definitely not my first choice in terms of user interface, but it's an option out there if you guys want to take a look at it. Alright, so the next one we're going to take a look at is FreeOffice Plan Maker. Alright, so this is the look of the FreeOffice Plan Maker, just like the FreeOffice Text Maker. It's got the ribbon set up that you can change to the classic look if you so desire. But let's go through the tests. So the test for this, let's try to open up. We've got some samples and stuff in here too, so that's kind of cool. You've got some samples that you can open up. Let's try to find. Oh, where's my user? Where's the home folder? Alright, here we go. Home documents. So let's go to documents, and as you can see here, FreeOffice Plan got an F rating for the ODS support. There's no support for the Open Document Standard in terms of spreadsheets. Now, if you recall, the word processor supports ODT, which is the word processor format of ODS, but the actual ODS format for spreadsheets, not supported at all, so we're not going to be able to take a look at that spreadsheet. However, you do have some other file formats that it is compatible with, but we won't be able to test out the compatibility there for the spreadsheet that I had. So if you wanted to use Open Document Standard stuff, FreeOffice is not going to be supported for the Open Document spreadsheet. So although you can use Open Document Text for this Office suite, which is kind of odd for in my opinion. You can export as PDF, so it did pass that test as well. So there you go. This is what this one looks like. It has pretty much the same functionality as Microsoft Office Spreadsheets, or whatever it's called. You can type in some text, and it should be perfectly functional. Not terrible. If you wanted to only really use this program, we're not going to take a look at the the processing usage just because it's pretty much probably going to be the same for the spreadsheet as it was for the text editor versions. So as you can see, it's got a decent layout. It has the same sort of functionality that you'd expect in Microsoft Office, but not all the compatibility that I'd want. And let's see what the default document is. So default document saving file is either SoftMaker Office format or Microsoft Office format. So compatibility with those is pretty good, but you can always export as PDF. So not terrible, but not also the best because it doesn't support ODS. Let's take a look at the next one, which is Numeric. Numeric. Very simple user interface. This is sort of the companion that normally is bundled in with Abby Word. Very, very nice user layout. I really like the way that this looks. It's kind of stylized. It looks really nice. Let's go over the tests. For the Stargate test, the ODS test, got a P rating, 100% compatibility, perfect, everything looks great. So let's open that up. We'll go to Documents and open up that. And as you can see, everything opened up perfectly, 100% compatibility, everything looks as it should. All the dates are in correctly, everything looks really, really good. So the documents, good for that. Let's see what it can support for exporting. So let's save as. You've got your Numeric format, and you've got Microsoft Office format, and all those other stuff. So everything looks like it's formatted pretty well. You've got pretty good selection of formats that you can save in, and you can also save this as a PDF, I believe. Let me see. Actually, no, I take that back. This is the only program that we're going to go over today that doesn't support exporting as PDF. So that's a big negative. My bad. This does not support PDF. Big negative. Alright. So let's get out of that one. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to LibreOffice Calc. Same sort of user interface as Libreoffice Writer. Let's go through the tests. So let's open up the document here, and as you can see, this has a P rating as well. This is 100% compatible. Everything looks as it should. Everything is where it should be. Everything looks as it should be. So perfect compatibility there. No issues. Really like the user interface for LibreOffice Calc. It works really, really well. It's got some extra functionality up here in the tabs for the spreadsheets. PDF export is right here, so it does support that as well. So pretty much perfect compatibility there. Let's see what other file types it does support. And it supports pretty much Microsoft Office ODF and all these other ones that you can see here. So not bad. Really good option there. I'm kind of brushing through the spreadsheet stuff because I don't really use spreadsheets a whole lot. But the next one we're going to take a look at is Lix. So Lix got an F in the ODF compatibility, so it's not compatible with ODF at all. Let's see what it can only, like I said, it can only open up Lix style documents. So although it can do spreadsheets, it is not compatible with anything but its own proprietary format, but it can export as PDF. So like I said, if you're just typing for yourself, it's a perfectly reasonable option, I suppose, but you'll have to export as PDF to share it with anybody else that doesn't have Lix installed. So it's the exact same program as before, nothing really needed to go over there. The next one is OnlyOffice. Alright, so for OnlyOffice, we're going to open up Spreadsheet here. Like I said, this one's the most heaviest on the processor and the RAM, but the user interface, just like it was for the text, is fantastic. I absolutely love the user interface they've got going here. Let's try to open up for the test here. Let's see, how do we open up a file? Is this paste? Let's go to Documents. Close. So this is a new user interface that I'm not familiar with yet. So let's actually close this one up and open a local file. So basically what you have to do is you have to actually open up a local file here, and we'll go to Browse, and we'll go to the Stargate document. So as you can see, it recognized it as a spreadsheet. So it does support ODS standard, and it does take a little bit to load. However, as you can see here, the compatibility, it got an A because it does work, but it has this weird line thing going on. Not really sure why. I'm guessing that's there just so you can keep the size of the tables and stuff. I'm not really sure why it's got it like that. So it only got an A for the ODS compatibility. But it is compatible, and everything else is how it should be. All the numbers are where they should be and whatnot. The only thing is it's got this weird hex thing. I'm not sure how to remove it because I haven't really tried to yet, but I'm sure you can remove it. It's just got the weird thing going on with the way that the text looks. It also has the ability to export as a PDF here. So you've got the PDF compatibility there, and these are the other file formats that it does support in terms of file formats. So not bad. Really like the user interface. It's a very nice user interface. Alright, and so the last one we've got here is WPS Spreadsheets. Now, for WPS Spreadsheets, the ODS compatibility got an F. Just like WPS Writer, it is not compatible with any sort of open document text at all. It does have the ability to support PDFs, so you can export as PDF, but you don't get the ability to export as ODS. So that's kind of a negative in my book. Let's see what file formats it does support, since it doesn't support the ODS standard. You do get Microsoft Excel formats and the proprietary format that they support, and a couple other ones here like XML and all that other stuff. So you do have those compatibilities, just not the one for ODS. So really nice user interface, like I said, and you also still have the ability to change the look of the user interface like you could with the Writer. However, not compatible with ODS. So that's pretty much it. And that wraps up, you also have the tabs here. That basically wraps up the overview of the Office suites. Now, some of the Office suites do also come with presentation programs. The reason why we didn't do compatibility tests with presentation programs is presentation programs are usually run from the computer that makes them, and they are basically proprietary in terms of animations and stuff like that, so there's going to be very little compatibility no matter what. So it doesn't really matter what's on them. It's just going to be up to that. But the ones that do have presentation programs included with them, Calligraphy does not, Abby Word does not, Numeric obviously does not. FreeOffice does come with a presentation program. Libreoffice comes with a presentation program. OnlyOffice, I believe, comes with a presentation program. Let's check. Yeah, it does have a presentation program. And WPS has a presentation program as well. So those are all the presentation programs you can look at as well. As you may notice here, you do have something called Zoho. These are available in the repository. However, these do not work. These are an old version. They no longer support these desktop apps that they have here. These are no longer compatible. They went to only web apps. So, just like Google Docs, you do have a third option in terms of, you have Microsoft 365, Microsoft Office 365, which is a web app. You have Microsoft Office Docs, which is a web app. And then you also have the Zoho Office. So let's take a look at Zoho real quick. And we'll take a look at their Office suite since we didn't really take a look at it before. So let's access our apps here. So here is the, I already created an account. All you have to do is create a free account and a password, and that's all it requires. So one thing that I like about Zoho Docs as compared to the other online options, for Office 365 is only online, and that's it. You don't get any offline compatibility unless you have the desktop version of Office installed. Google Docs supports offline, and this also supports offline writing as well. So this is more comparable to Google Docs, which is really nice. So let's take a look at their program real quick. So this is their Writer document program. You have a couple different templates here, which is really nice. One of the benefits of being a web app is you can get tons of templates all the time. Let's just open up an untitled document. And as you can see, it is loading. Since it is a web app, it does take a little bit longer to load. But here's the user interface. A little bit different than other user interfaces you're used to. You've got your standard text here. You've got all of your information comes in this slide out window here, but everything is there. Let's see what kinds of fonts they support, because this is not coming from my system. So let's see. It does support the Microsoft fonts. So that's nice. So you can do Times New Roman. So let's do a typing test. This is a typing test, and there you have a typing test. Sorry, I'm stumbling over my words. Yeah, there you go. There is the a test of the typing. So let's take a look at the offline compatibility. So let's do, let's see, go to Zoho Docs, and you can also get the Zoho Docs for Linux offline app. And what this does is this will sync, sort of like Google Cloud does or Google Drive does. This will sync files from your desktop to your Zoho account. So that's kind of nice. This is a nice third-party application. So let's see what kind of formats it can save in. As with most online word processors, it automatically saves as you type. But let's see what kind of files it can export as the final look here. So let's see, where do we export? Let's see, distribute. So let's hit the distribute menu, and you can do electronic signature, and let's do download. So let's see, you can send it out as a Microsoft Word document, which is nice, ODT, there you go, and PDF. So that's really, really nice. So it's got at least some compatibility with all those formats. And yeah, so those are really all of the options that you have in terms of word processing Office suites on Linux. One thing I should mention before I forget, Zoho does work in Firefox and Google Chrome and any other internet browser that you have, so that is one thing that's nicer about that than Google Docs alone. So that was a quick look at all of the Office programs I could possibly find. Like I said, we didn't look at Office 365 or OpenOffice just because of the reasons I stated at the beginning, and we didn't really go over Google Docs that much because it functions the same way as it does on every platform. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys found this informative. That was pretty much everything I could, fit in there. I hope you guys, if you guys are thinking about switching to Linux, those are the different programs you can install in terms of word processing. Personally, the ones that I would use, the ones that I like the best, I really liked OnlyOffice. OnlyOffice was a great option. LibreOffice is what I was using for a long time, so LibreOffice is the one that I used the most. And Abby Word are all really good word processors. FreeOffice is also pretty good, and WPS is alright. So those are my opinions on those. OnlyOffice and LibreOffice are the two I recommend the most. But if you wanted to try one of those other ones, those are available as well. So let me know what you guys think in the comment box below. Did you enjoy this video? What did you guys think? If you have any questions about any of this software or any of the specs about me running this, let me know in the comment box below. I respond to all my comments as soon as possible. And I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.